Hey, thanks for tuning in to Twang and Bang. It has been decades since I've done something like that. Just walking through the woods with a can and a BB gun. And it was as fun as it looks, even though I'm a grown man with safes full of firearms. I was sent these BB guns by Air Gun Depot to remind us all that you don't have to spend a mint on guns and gear to introduce a kid to the fundamentals of shooting. In the process of making the video, I was also reminded how much fun it is to shoot BB guns like these, because you don't have to worry as much about what's going to happen to your shot when you miss. If you're wondering what to get a young shooter that's going to give him or her a positive first experience with a rifle, a few good answers are what's coming up next on Twang and Bang. The John Wayne Little Duke and the Annie Oakley Little Sure Shot are two versions of the same .177 caliber BB rifle from Air Venturi's Western Justice line. They're designed to give new shooters familiarity with safety, trigger, and sight alignment fundamentals without the noise, expense, or downrange concerns of a firearm. The Duke and the Little Duke comes from John Wayne, the original Duke with a lever gun and a cowboy hat. His officially licensed image is found on both sides of the wooden stock, with the Lil Duke on the fore end. Its polymer cocking lever has a big loop befitting a lever action BB gun named after the actor who made big loop lever guns famous. The Little Sure Shot is a tribute to Annie Oakley, the famous exhibition sharpshooter who's believed to have taught over 15,000 women how to use a gun. Its stock proudly displays her image on both sides, with the fore end reminding onlookers whose eye is looking down the sights. The Little Sure Shot has a standard profile polymer cocking loop, and other than that, in the engravings is otherwise the same rifle as the Little Duke. The writing on the receivers and images on the stocks are engraved, which means they'll hold up to use in ways that decals and paint found on other guns can't. Both rifles hold up to 550 metal BBs in their magazines, accessible by twisting the cap on the muzzle. Spring piston firing mechanisms in each rifle launch standard steel BBs at around 350 feet per second from the 9.5-inch smoothbore barrels. The rifles will also shoot low ricochet BBs for extra safety when shooting around hard objects. The crossbolt safeties sit behind broad polymer triggers that break at just under 4 pounds. That's light enough that little fingers will have no problem pulling through the break, but heavy enough to reduce the chance a new shooter will accidentally trip the trigger early. The sturdy front blade sight pairs with a square notch rear sight adjustable for elevation. Both rifles come with a polymer lasso 11mm dovetail mount for mounting scopes of your choice. It quickly attaches to the top of the receiver via the tab and screw already on the rifles. The Lil Duke is also available as a kit with an Air Venturi lasso scope for just another $10. It's compatible with the Daisy Red Ryder as well, and is available separately for those wanting to add a little bit of magnification and a set of crosshairs to any of these popular lever action BB guns. Adjusting the sights on any of the rifles is pretty easy. Just has a thumb pad there. You gotta lift the springy sight, and then you just slide that to the notch corresponding to the elevation of the rear sight that you want. In order to install the scope rail, we're gonna pull this out first thing, and then we're gonna take the screw off of the back. These are the bases. The lasso base that comes with the Little Duke and the Little Sure Shot is actually polymer. The one that comes with the lasso scope and mount kit is, I think it's aluminum, it's metal. So this is the one we're gonna use. We're gonna use the metal one. Now all you have to do is you line that groove up with that notch, and then that stud is going to go into the slot of the sight there, and then we're going to find the hole in the back, line that up, and you'll see there's going to be some spring tension there. That's going to help hold everything in place. And now we simply snug that screw back in place. That's it. You can see right there, that's intentional. That's spring pressure to hold the front aligned in the sight groove. And then this is enough to hold it in the back. Now we're going to mount the sight itself. It's already mounted in the rings. We're just going to loosen the screws, set this on the rail here actually. Let's see if it'll slide on. Ordinarily we'd be able to leave the mount screws in place, but they don't clear that screw right there. So you're just going to pull them out of the base of the rings, then slide the rings in place, and you're going to have to play around with it to get the right eye relief. But once you get the right eye relief, you just tighten each of the base screws down snug, and you're good to go. This is a BB gun. It's not high recoil. You're not really going to have to worry about Loctite. You can put Loctite in there if you want, but that's not going to go anywhere the way it's set up. One of the improvements Air Venturi made in their design over other brands of similar rifles is having a metal loading port cover. Others will have a plastic cover here that can break, that can actually wear out over time, to where just by handling it or even not even touching the port cover, it could pop open and you end up with BBs everywhere. This metal port cover has spring tension on it, and it's not going to accidentally open. It's not going to wear out. The conventional way of loading it is to open the port cover and pour your BBs in. And you can fill it with up to 550 BBs. You just close it and then you're done. There's a very fast way to unload this. That's also a fast way to load it. And that is to turn the muzzle cap and pull on it as you're turning. Eventually, the barrel itself will break free from the receiver, and then you slide it out just about like that. And if you're unloading, you just pour all the BBs out, and that's much faster than having to get them out of that loading port. And then you just slide that back down, twist it until the end cap slides onto the muzzle sleeve, the barrel sleeve, and then turn that back into place, and you're good to go. Of course, you can load it that way too by giving yourself enough room to get the nozzle of your BB filler in there much faster. Reverse the process again. That's probably not the way you're going to want your kid to load it, but as a dad, if you're short on time, that might be a way that you do it. The standard BBs you're going to buy at any big box store will probably be steel, even if they have a copper coating on the outside. That's just to keep them from rusting. That means you have to really be careful about what you have around your target area. Steel BBs will ricochet off of anything hard, and even at 350 feet per second, which is what they're coming out of the Little Duke and the Little Sure Shot, they're going to come back at you with enough force to damage your eye. So first thing you need to make sure is that not only is the shooter wearing safety glasses, but anybody that's in the area close enough to be watching it. Everybody should be wearing shatterproof glasses. You also have the option, like I did, of covering the aluminum table with a blanket. That's going to help reduce ricochet. You might use a section of old carpet. A plush towel will work as well, but if you're going to shoot in your basement or in your garage, which plenty of people do quite safely with BB guns like this, you might also consider getting something like these right here. They are low ricochet BBs, and not all BB guns will shoot these, but the Little Duke and the Little Sure Shot will. I'm going to be sticking with these steel BBs because Air Venturi sent me a really cool target to use today. This is the BB Bandit. It comes pretty much like you see it here. It has some target sheets, 2 of each type of game. One is their what they call their Starburst target, and the other is their Saloon Shootout. And you don't have to use these. You can use any target as long as it's less than 12 inches across and less than 18 inches long. They're going to sit on top of this double ply foam, which will catch BBs up to 650 feet per second. Lead pellets too, as long as they're 177 caliber. And the ultimate backstop is actually this metal plate. It's very lightweight. It stays inside of the cardboard box that everything comes in. Once you have your target face set up, you just flip over the back, and even the stand is integrated into the box itself. Stand that up, and now we're ready to shoot. A few comments about cocking these, and this applies not only to the Air Venturi Little Duke and Little Sure Shot. It doesn't matter what brand of these little spring piston BB guns you have, it's all the same. When you're running the lever on a center fire rifle or a rimfire, you're just overcoming friction inside the action and a really small hammer spring. You can throw a gun up and run that lever until you run out of rounds in the magazine. No problem. You're not going to be able to do that as an adult with any of these guns. Again, it's not just these from Air Venturi, it's all the same. Because when you cock this, you are powering the whole thing. You're running a very large piston into compression. And so you're going to have to take it off of your shoulder and grab the front of the cocking lever and pull up, or grab farther up on the barrel, hold the cocking lever still and push over, or some combination of the two. You're not going to be able to run it up here. Not as an adult, certainly not as a kid. Second thing is, you're going to have a little bit of a break-in period when you pull these out of the box. I don't know whether it's seating seals or getting the assembly grease all around where it needs to be, or a combination of both, but it definitely got easier to cock after about 30 or 40 times. And so to me, nothing's wearing out in that amount of cocking the lever 30, 40 times. It's got to be getting grease around, it's got to be seating seals, but it will get easier than it is straight out of the box. It's still not going to be easy enough for really small kids to be able to do by themselves, but that's okay, because as an adult, you should be right there with kids that small, making sure that they stay safe. The third thing about cocking to know gets at the number one concern I've seen in the reviews I've read about these from Air Venturi, as well as other manufacturers, and that is all of them that I've seen, not just the Air Venturi, have polymer cocking levers now. They used to have stamped steel. They were hollow. And though they were a little more rigid than this polymer, the problem would be if you got enough side load on them while you were cocking, they would bend and crimp. And even if you got them straight again, you created an area of weakness and they could end up snapping over time. They couldn't go to a solid cocking lever and keep a gun like this at 2.6 pounds and under $50 street price. You're just not going to get a solid steel cocking lever for that. So instead, what Air Venturi did is what other manufacturers do, and they went to a polymer. It will flex if you get off to the side a little bit with your cocking, and all I've ever read are people worried that it's going to break. I haven't read any reports of it actually breaking. I think that they've actually solved the problem with the stamped steel levers bending and potentially breaking, with the polymer that might be less rigid, more ready to bend, but it always snaps back and it never snaps off. Not that I've been able to find. This is actually my very first shot out of this using the sights. Nice! That's actually really accurate. So these are BB guns. At 350 feet per second, iron sights, you really need to think about 10 feet of range. You need to think about maybe 20 feet of range. You're not talking about yards. And that's why targets like that are really nice, because that can handle being 10 feet away. And with the way I have that set up, I don't have to worry about ricochets. But you don't want to start kids super far away to where they're not able to hit those star targets. They're not able to hit cans or plastic water bottles or whatever you have set up as your targets. You want to set them up for success. And I'm standing here maybe 12 feet away, and I'm having a good time. Nice. At 34 inches long and 2.6 pounds, these things are designed for very little shooters to be able to shoot offhand without having to do a backward lean to compensate for weight. One of the things to keep in mind is the more you load the magazine with steel BBs, the more front heavy it's going to get. But also, as this gets empty, you do need to kind of shake it as you cock it, because you will find you get some dry fires in there. It's not going to hurt the gun. It just means that the BB didn't sit in the right place above the barrel as you or your kid cocked it. But it's actually really easy to shoot for the littlest of shooters while still being fun to shoot for a 47-year-old grown man. Little sure shot is right. I'm not sure how well it's going to show up on that other camera, so I wanted to show you with this camera. Those are my first shots. That's my second group as I was talking to you. I didn't have any problems with windage at all, and elevation seems to be right on there. I probably could have gotten tighter groups if I would have slowed down and been more careful, but who cares? I was having lots of fun, and that's as tight a group as I need to be able to shoot, to have fun shooting these targets or cans or clay pigeons or water bottles. I think that this BB Bandit target is a really cool idea. I like it a whole lot because I don't have to worry about BBs rolling around after shooting it like steel traps you would. They're all captured in the foam, and I can put any target up on that I want as long as it's less than 12 inches wide or 18 inches tall. It'll pop on there. And when you're 10 feet away, you don't even necessarily need splatter targets to see where you hit, but that's a nice bonus as well. I really like that target. Nice. Whoop. There we go. Oh, 2 for 1. I'm gonna hit the bottom. Dance. Oop, that bounced off. I am using the low recoil, or not the low recoil, the low ricochet rounds in here. These BBs are actually heavier BBs than the steel BBs, and I think they're hitting a little bit harder. But they're also going a little bit more slowly. Speed is your friend for busting through cans like that. That might be why I got one that actually went off to the side, but doesn't matter anyway. These are shatter resistant glasses that BB didn't go very far. I'm standing pretty far away, but it's a good reminder. You always need to be paying attention with BBs to the realization that they can come back to you. You need to be protecting your eyes when you shoot. Since these are spring piston rifles, there's a bit of vibration at the shot. It's not recoil, but these will buzz in your hands when you pull the trigger, which I don't think it's such a bad training aid to get kids used to before introducing them to actual recoil that can come even when shooting a .22. Both the Little Duke and the Little Sure Shot are available for just under $50. But if you use the links in the video description for a limited time, Airgun Depot will throw in a set of safety glasses, a bottle of BBs, and some paper targets so that you and your little one can get started as soon as you open the box. Be sure to follow me on Facebook and Instagram. You can see the links right here. Be sure to click right here to subscribe so you can catch my next videos on bows, guns, and other cool stuff. I really appreciate you watching Twang and Bang, and I hope to see you next time.